So do you need somebody to cover your shift at work? There's an app for that. Retail and restaurant employees who may work irregular hours now have the capability to exchange shifts with a few taps on the phone. Joining us right now is the CEO of Shyft, Brett Patrontasch. Brett, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Maria. Pleasure to be here.
Interesting idea. How does it work?
Well, it's pretty simple. Employees just download the app, select their store location, and then the next time either their car breaks down or if they have a sick child at home, they post their shift on our app and it notifies their coworkers. Another coworker clicks the cover button and the shift is swapped. That's simple.
Wow.
So if you can't get somebody to cover, this is what I want to know, if you can't get someone to cover your shift, can you offer them an incentive to take it? So let's say you're getting close to the deadline, nobody's taking your shift. Can you say, hey, take my shift plus I'll give you $20? Is that an option on the app?
Actually, Brian, you can. You can add a tip, and we see that a number of employees are certainly doing that, especially as the shift gets closer to the start time if it hasn't been covered yet.
So does the whole company have to sign up? How do you subscribe? How does it work?
Well, employees can sign up on their own, or managers can do that as well. Once an employee downloads the app, they send SMS invites to their coworkers, and then they download and register as well. And you'll see that some stores grow to 20 or 30 users in the first day, and they start swapping shifts right away.
Don't some companies, large retailers, have their own, what would be the equivalent of Shyft?
A lot of companies do have scheduling systems, but that usually isn't as mobile, and it's not built for the end user first. What we focus on at Shyft is building a mobile tool for millennial workers that really resonates with the type of social media that they already use to help them solve their problem.
But this is an important point because companies may say, look, we don't want too many employees to have too much overtime. And, you know, when a person says, oh, I'm going to take your hours, maybe that goes like, for example, Walmart has discouraged their employees from using a similar app, according to the Wall Street Journal, because the company wants to be in charge of who works what hours.
Typically, we find that managers can actually approve or reject shift swaps as well if they want to have a bit more control. Some managers just want to ensure that an employee shows up, and you're right, other brands want to ensure that people aren't going overtime and have, work the appropriate week, and they choose to manage that a little bit more closely.
Where did the idea come from?
We spoke to over 3,500 retail workers in the field. We spent a few months talking to users at malls and actually asking them what they wanted built into a mobile app. And we've been able to be successful in getting them to onboard on our product, so much so that we've had over 260,000 hours exchanged on our app in the last year.
Wow.
So you're in Seattle, where one of the policy conversations is around locking employers in to say, look, you've got to tell people 2 weeks in advance when they're going to work, and if you don't do that, there's going to be a penalty for it. It seems like your app is a market answer to that question, but does the regulation actually get in the way of you being able to break into the market? I mean, how do you interplay with the public policy there? Well,
it's really interesting. I think all across the country, people are waking up and realizing that, hey, schedules can be erratic for employees. You have worker advocate groups like Working Washington in Seattle or the Fair Work Week here in New York who are pushing for legislation around this, and at the same time, you have employers who are looking for solutions to decrease no-shows at their stores. And we're a mobile app that solves that problem. So it can be win-win for employees and employers, and that's why people are really picking up Shyft.
How do you monetize the business? How do you make money here?
It's a free app for users and for employees and for managers to use at their store. And we do offer brands additional administrative features if they want to take advantage of leveraging Shyft at a national level.
So is that your revenue source?
That's correct.
That's the extra revenue source?
Yes.
Huh. So do you see this shifting the debate at all on some of these public policy issues? I mean, you are an answer to this, but are you going to be a sufficient answer in Seattle, or are you going to see, mayor and city council move ahead with this sort of thing?
I think we're contributing to the conversation. I've been sitting in at some of the secure scheduling meetings that have been taking place around that legislation, and we're trying to sit, in a neutral position and offer a technology solution that can help both parties solve their problems. And I think it's being embraced.
All right, interesting stuff. Brett, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Maria.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Brett Patrontasch joining us there.